it was kind of the emblematic victory for, I think, what this Falcons team is supposed to be under Arthur Smith, right? It's been 3 years in the making. They inherited a team that was really kind of already built. Like, that's the hard part I think about in the NFL. Some teams, a coach comes in and oversees a teardown, and maybe another head coach comes in and they do have the cupboard bare, which on the surface looks like a bad thing, but sometimes that's not the worst case, right? If you have a pretty big checkbook and the cabinet's bare, you get to then go out and buy a bunch of stuff that suits your needs and your desires. The Falcons were in a little bit of a different situation when Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot came on board. Not only financially were they all locked in, they did not really have any wiggle room because every nickel and dime was kind of already accounted for and signed up. And unfortunately, a lot of those nickels and dimes were going to players that were no longer on the team. We all know the story, right? We know that now this free agency, they've had the pocketbooks, the purse strings finally open back up. They've made a lot of changes. They've brought in a lot of the guys, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, that they think better fits the vision for this team. And I think on Friday night, you saw the first real true iteration of that. And what I mean by that is that this is a team not like 2016 that is going to be looking to win games 36-32, right? And if we have the ball last, yeah, good luck. You're not going to stop us. But if the other team has the ball last, it's not really the place you want to be living. I think that we saw last year, this team kind of doesn't mind being in a lot of one-score games. I think that they situationally feel that, okay, we can execute. We're not going to get flustered. We've got the confidence. We have the mental fortitude, all of that stuff to kind of play in these one-score games because that's what the NFL is, right? When all of these teams sit there and say, yeah, they played in 8 one-score games last season and they were 3-5. Wait until next year when that turns around. Everybody plays 8 one-score games. Like, that's just what the NFL is. And good teams win these one-score games. Sometimes fluky teams, not saying the Minnesota Vikings last year were fluky. I don't expect them to win all of their one-score games again this year. And that's sometimes where you see a team fall back to earth. But the Falcons are kind of building a team that wants to play these one-score games. When the offense doesn't have a series that ends in a touchdown or a field goal, or frankly, even a punt, let's say it's turnover, that the defense, then the expectation is, all right, you're bowing up and you're making the stop here. It's not a team that is identified by one side of the ball. It's a team that's identified by all sides of the ball. And that is why I think that if you look at 3 Falcons touchdowns yesterday, 1 offensively, 1 on defense, 1 on special teams. Beautiful. That, I think, is exactly what, especially in the preseason, you want to see, because that's indicative of, all right, we've got something in all 3 phases here. We've got something that is working, that's working already. And that is going to be, again, I think, indicative of the type of team that we want to see here in Atlanta under Arthur Smith in 2023, because I think that that's his vision. I think that you're going to see a tough, grinded out team, more like the Mike Smith teams than the Dan Quinn teams. And, I think that's kind of welcome here, especially if you're going to see it start in the trenches the way that it happened last night.